Friday they said it was going to dump snow in the southwest. Everybody was talking about it. They have mountains there. They need water. That's how the lakes fill up. It's from the snow. No snow this year. And they said this system was going to bring snow, but all we see is that it was too far inland. It was one of the dry systems we call a ghost system. You can't even see the spiral. Over at Hawaii, you see another dry system, and from underneath, water being created, gonna give Hawaii some much needed rain. But you get back over here, and we see more stuff plunging downward. It's gonna snow in the southwest. It's gonna snow. Well, Friday and Saturday, it was just not even an inch, and it didn't even stay where they're supposed to get snowed in. Well, then they said, oh, well, it's going to be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So they moved it up 3 more days, and a new system comes plunging down. You can't see the spiral on it, but everywhere where there's usually clouds traveling in opposite directions, you have a rotation. The rotation means low pressure. Low pressure means heat, and it means a lot of stuff going on. So we go further north up to the Vancouver coast, and the very top is the Gulf of Alaska, Alaska and Siberia. But you see another ghost system right here, and that the stuff traveling in 2 different directions down here, and so there you got 2 rotations. This one looks awfully familiar, doesn't it? I've showed it before. And then we have something really high speed going on right around here. We have deformity here, but we have a lot of low pressure spinning, which creates kind of a jet stream for a short while. It sends clouds flying along horizontally for just a short period of time. So, Friday, you can see the southwest. This is Utah, Arizona, and then of course over here is Mexico, New Mexico, Texas. No water coming through. But finally, California gets a little rain, but because the system is too far inland, the fire hydrant effect is being created inland, and therefore it bypasses the west coast. Idaho, South Dakota, Montana, these guys are getting pummeled because of the fire hydrant effect of these low pressure systems, which you can't even see them. There's one right here. I don't know what they're trying to prove when they make predictions 10 days, 7 days in advance. That this whole southwest, on the day it was supposed to be snowing, had nothing. And that's because that dry system you see moving up through Colorado and into Wyoming, that you can't even see the spiral. It's so dry, but you can see that fire hydrant effect. The water shooting up from underneath, and when we put it on something that visualizes even more, you begin to see the spiral. This is more of a higher elevation, picks up some of the particulates, so it illuminates, and you can visualize those systems a little better. But this is the whole Pacific. Hawaii is off to the left. It's covered up by a patch of water. Directly above it is, that spherical system is so reminiscent of all the other ones we see over the ocean. It should be loaded with water. That's what creates these spirals, is a hot evaporation. But then you look over to the right-hand side of the screen, you see the system that is now bringing snow and water to the southwest. Finally, 3 days later, isn't just another system. And so 4 systems have gone down the west coast into the southwest, cut up through the southwest, and head right back up towards the general direction of the Great Lakes. Those systems were dry systems, and only had moisture on the front side and underneath side. And then we go to what's creating the rain now, and we see more than one spiral, but you have to really look for them. You see clouds traveling in the opposite direction. There's a spiral there somewhere. The one in this picture is at the bottom, and then there's another one at the top. You can't see them because they're just too dry. We pull back out a little bit, and you can see that system plunging down towards Baja, wrapping rain back around for California. These systems have moved just slightly more to the west, so that fire hydrant effect is now hitting places a little further west than they used to. And because of it plunging so far deep, so far southward, we're actually getting snow in Arizona. I was told it was snowing just outside of Phoenix and snowing in Tucson tonight. Well, they're going to say, well, that proves we're not warming. But that's the model of warming, is extremes, more extremes. So the water that you see here now billowing up was Friday and Saturday. That was the water that was supposed to have come into the Southwest, but now currently the Southwest is getting pummeled. You see that huge patch of water, that spiral over Arizona, throwing water up towards Colorado, into New Mexico, wrapping back around and drenching California. All that air coming down is very cold. The air going up is kind of warm. So I just showed you 3 systems all plunging south. One has already moved, actually it's 4. One has already moved off out of Arizona and out of the Southwest, replaced by the storm that's now bringing rain. But then there's these 2 systems. The one off of the coast of Vancouver, and then the head of the spear plunging downward right at the Northern California coast. That's 1, 2 in this picture, and the third one's off to the right, and the fourth one is already up, headed towards Wyoming. All spinning ghost systems, 4 of them, all plunging down. And when they're further out, to see that fire hydrant effect can actually hit the West Coast. If it's too far inland, then the fire hydrant effect off the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock position of these storms, that gushing of water from the southern portion of those spirals, that can happen now off the coast instead of inland, and now bring water to California and the Southwest. But it's a lot, it's high winds, and the change from warm to cold is abrupt, and a very, very large difference between the warm and the cold in just a matter of 2 days. So the couple close approaches, the closest, almost the distance from the moon to the Earth, but these asteroids, I wonder why so many have the exact same perihelion as the orbital ring of Earth. Why do so many have a perihelion, and they're all slightly different inclines? But I'll run this through for a whole year. You'll see that this one comes way above and then comes down way below, but the periodicity just happens even a year later to become another close approach, and its perihelion just happens to be the orbit of Earth. Why so many objects that have why don't they have perihelions inside or outside the orbit of Earth? Why are they all now occurring? Well, you have to remember, most of the solar system's perihelion is on the same side Earth is now. So all the close approaches right now are going to share similar perihelions as all the planets. All the planets, their perihelion, their closest approach to the sun is on the where Earth is in February. That portion of the solar system where Earth is right now through February is close approach for Earth. So anything else that has a close approach is probably going to have a similar orbital perihelion. But still, why aren't those perihelions inside the orbit and out? Why are so many right on our orbital path? So that's why asteroids, they're more likely to hit Earth than comets. Comets are bigger and carry toxic volatile gases and would spell extinction level event if a comet would ever hit Earth. And they have traced cometary impacts back, get this, every 3,600 years, which matches the alleged orbit of planet 9X. And then we said that the sun was, and the Earth would go through some earthquakes and some flaring due to the Jupiter alignment. And the flaring started before the earthquakes and is still continuing. We've had major quakes in the Falklands. We have significant quake activity in Argentina and Chile. We had significant earthquake activity, 7-pointers, like we told you, might happen. 7-pointers in the Philippines. So off the coast, in a trench there. But the sun is just putting out solar flare after solar flare. But there was several redactions and omissions just after those comets hit the sun. The next day, next 2 days, you got one frame out of these photographs. But I find it quite odd that we predicted all of this, and now that the sun will start calming down and earthquakes should taper off here. A lot of activity in the super calderas, but just to prove, the Jupiter alignments are geo-effective and solar effective when they involve Earth. Oh, and one last thing about earthquakes. We always show you that when there's an earthquake in South New Zealand, there's always an earthquake in South Spain. These occur almost identical to one another. They're exactly polar opposites. And when Spain, right there, is as reactive as South New Zealand, both sit on fault lines, then that's indication of a wobble. The wobble. But if you've noticed, if you follow this channel, since we pointed out that relationship between South New Zealand and South Spain, the magnitudes of those polar opposite quakes have gotten a little smaller over the last couple of years, which is indication that Planet X is leaving the solar system, not coming into the solar system. The wobble is tapering down.